Happy New Year and welcome back to Love Essentials with Tara
and Hannah. In last episode, we were talking about intimacy, and we said we had to go into a part 2.
Yes.
Because there was just so much good information that was being said. But we left off with talking about those uncomfortable conversations that you have to have with your spouse. How now that you're in the marriage, things have changed. Things that he or she used to do just don't turn you on like they used to. And so how do we create those safe spaces to have those conversations
and get out of that stubbornness where you're not meeting my needs and I'm not meeting your needs, and we just keep doing that for weeks and weeks and months until we want to trade each other in. Because
for a new model.
Because that's what people assume. They assume that, okay, they're not doing anything. I've told them, or I think I've told them over and over again what my needs are, and they're not responding. So I'm just going to start over with somebody new who is going to date me and do all those things again for the first year or two, and then they're going to fall back into that pattern again.
So you're just going to keep upgrading.
Yeah, because even if I can get 2 years of romance out of somebody, that's worth it. No. Work it out with your spouse.
Yes.
Somebody has to wave the white flag and say, you know what? I have not been doing what I'm doing, what I should be doing towards you. Maybe that's affected the way you're doing things towards me. Let's sit down. This marriage is worth saving. And one of the biggest issues is intimacy. That if you ask most women, they will say, I don't feel like he is paying attention to me, focused in on me, being romantic towards me, being intimate. But then you'll talk to the men and they'll say, she's not doing some of the things that she used to do for me. She's not paying attention to my needs. She's not meeting me where I'm supposed to be. So everybody wants to get together. That's what I hear out of that conversation. Everybody actually wants to get together. It's just that there are some distractions, there are some blockages that's keeping that from happening. And we as couples have to work with all that is within us to keep that intimacy going.
And the reason why it's such a problem is because we were created to have that bond. Like that bond is what is drawing us together, but because we're not having the conversations, because of the pride that we have or the shame that we feel and the stubbornness from wanting to be vulnerable, we don't have these conversations. So here it is, we're drawn to each other because it's in our nature to feed that bond, but yet still we are being so stubborn and prideful in our ways that we're pulling away from it. So it's like taking two magnets that are just attracted, but you're keeping them apart. And so that's where you get all this friction and tension between each other. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be that way.
And now I'm complaining over stuff that ain't that serious. Why you didn't wash the dishes? What I'm saying is, if you really had did what you're supposed to did last night, then I wouldn't be
worried about that. Because that's not even the root issue. That's just the surface. But if we get to the root, it's really the intimacy. And it's not just about sex either. It's about the whole stimulation of your mind, of your spirit, you know, all of that stuff. Like,
ask me how I'm doing.
Be in tune with me. See me. That's what we
see
want.
that I'm tired and say, sweetheart, let me tell you, one time my husband did this for me and I knew he cared.
That one time?
This one time, no. I came in the house one time and he said, hey, I already got the kids ready. He had gotten off of work early. We had different schedules. He had already gathered the kids together, gave them dinner and everything. I come in from a program at my job that ran late. He said, I got them going. You go ahead and take you a bath and get yourself ready for this evening. I'm good. I'm going to put the kids to bed. I was like,
what? Right?
It's magic. It's a miracle. And not that I expect that every day, but I said, this man understood that when she gets home, she's going to be tired. When she gets home, I don't want her to have to come in here and feed the children, get them bathed, because I can do that for her. Because he could have just sat on the couch. He could have just said, well, you know, I'll feed him, but when she get home, she needs to bathe him, because, you know, that's balance. I fed him. She can bathe them. But some people think like that. It's like, I'm not going to do more for my spouse than what they do for me. But in any marriage, some days you're going to do more, other days your spouse is going to do more.
There's no 50-50. Let's put that out there. There is no 50-50 in marriage. And I will admit, I'll be the first one to raise my hand, that I was one who thought that that's how it was supposed to be when I first got married. You know, I thought in the beginning that it was supposed to be 50-50 equal. And I had to realize that's not how it works. If you can do more, do more. You know what I'm saying? And we're not going to keep tabs either. No. We're not going to say, oh, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I did 70% in this house and you only did 30. I need you to catch up. No, it doesn't work like that at all. And all you're going to do is cause problems for yourself.
And you're not doing it with the heart of a servant. You're not actually serving your spouse and then, once again, teaching your spouse the culture of the relationship.
Yeah.
If I serve my spouse, I love on my spouse and do it with a good heart, because that's the issue there.
Heart.
Because we have a lot of people that are serving their spouse, but there's some resentment in it.
Right.
There's some, I'm still not getting what I need.
I'm doing it out of my due diligence.
Oh yeah, I'm a martyr. You know, and so that's why intimacy ends.
Right.
Because I'm doing all this service, but I don't see it reciprocated equally back from my spouse in ways that I count it. Because they could be doing things, but that's not how I count love. Right. That's not how I count service. So I'm upset with them. I'm not going to give them my intimacy, my affection.
Playground is shut down.
Yeah, and see, that's dangerous. And I'll say this, me and my spouse, that's one thing we agreed on when we got married, that we will never play those type of games.
Right.
We said we will never play the whole withholding affection type of games. Either you talk it out, whatever we're gonna do, but the whole I'm gonna withhold from you because I'm upset with you.
Right.
Neither one of us do that, because men can do that to women too.
They can.
They can say, well, I'm tired, or I don't feel like it, or I'm good.
Right.
And that would kill the woman's, like, shut her down.
Shut her down.
So you're not as attracted to me anymore.
Right. Or it takes you to that first thought, is he cheating? Obviously, you have to be going to someplace else if you're not coming to get it from me. But when he does it, it's a bigger issue. But when you do it, it's okay. And you talk to your girlfriends about it, and y'all laugh and kiki about it, and you don't have any accountability in that girlfriend relationship saying, girl, you wrong. You shouldn't do that.
Because it is wrong.
Right.
The Bible specifically says not to do that. And if you know you're doing it in some type of vengeful way, because he's not helping me, I'm not even going to make myself get into the mood. I'm not even going to make it two separate things. Because for me, I have to make it two separate things.
Right.
Because this is the way I serve my husband. Both of the work that I do in the house and the way I serve him affectionately or intimately, those are both services that God expects me to do.
Right.
And I think a lot of us, especially Christians, don't understand the affections and the getting together is actually a service. It's a part of our ministry to our spouse, because as I'm giving that ministry to them, it is keeping them from going outside the marriage.
Right.
It's keeping them from being tempted by somebody else, because I'm checking in on him.
Yeah.
I'm helping to keep him accountable to our marriage.
Right.
When I don't, I'm actually pushing my spouse away to someone else, allowing the enemy to come in and tell them, well, Tara doesn't really care about you, but this lady does, because she asks you. She's at your job. She asks you every day. She's telling you you smell good. She's telling you you look good. She's telling you that you're awesome. I am leaving that door open for Satan to come in when I withhold.
That's exactly why we also have to see where the two parties play a part in an affair. Because a lot of times it's like you just want to blame the one who stepped out. Yes, they're wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not.
Yeah.
But what caused that? This is a cause and effect situation. You know, obviously, if you're not doing your part to hold each other, because you got to hold yourself accountable too. You signed up for marriage.
Yes.
Nobody forced you down the aisle. Nobody forced you to say I do. Nobody forced you in the time of y'all engagement to even stay engaged. If you had second thoughts, that was the time for you to be like, you know what, let's go our separate ways. But now you're in this. And again, everything that we're talking about, yes, comes from a biblical standpoint. So I'm not talking to anybody who does not use the Bible as their foundation.
Yes.
But from a biblical standpoint, when you say I do, your body no longer belongs to you.
No.
The two become one. His body is yours, her body is. So how can you withhold what belongs to the other part? You can't do that.
But we treat it like it's our body. Even with God, it's like I do whatever I want with my body. Even when you tell me to give it to my spouse, it's still mine.
Right.
And if I don't feel like it, and if I don't want to, I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to get myself emotionally ready, mentally ready to engage for your glory, God, for service as unto you. We won't take on that self-sacrifice.
Right.
But it shouldn't be that somebody's making me.
Right.
We have to, as couples, get to the point of communicating our real needs. Humbly saying, sweetheart, it's not about this, that, or the third. It's about I don't feel seen, and I really need to be seen. Sweetheart, I'm tired, and I feel like everything's going to fall apart because I'm trying to balance the work and the children and the house and the chores, and I really need you in here with me.
Right.
Coming in a humble, just transparent, open way to your spouse, saying, this is why I'm asking you to help me, because I cannot maintain all of this on my own. I am tired. But you don't say it once you get frustrated and angry, and why are you not helping me? And this is what I'm talking about. And I might as well be by myself. If I'm going to do everything by myself, that's not the time.
Right, it's not, and you have to make sure that you're in a place to have that conversation so that it doesn't come out that way.
Yes.
Because now that person is going to get offended by your words, and whenever there's an offense, there's a defense. You know what I'm saying? And now you're no longer talking to each other or with each other. You're talking at each other. Yeah. And it becomes this whole situation where it's just like, well, I'm going to win this argument, and that person's trying to win the argument. And when you think about I winning, there is no we. And the both of you fail at it. And that's where you have a problem. And you can't look at it or continue to go at it that way. You have to remember that this marriage is about the two people that said I do. And it's not just the two of you, it's also God, because God is supposed to be in that. And he can help you work through that and help you with the affection. And you said something earlier that was a trigger for me, or made me think of something, in the fact that when we withhold so much from our spouse because they're not doing what we feel that they do, how do you feel your spouse feels? Because
Same
now,
way.
Exactly, so you're holding back, and you're not giving them anything, but you're expecting. It's like going to a bank, not putting any money into the account, but wanting to withdraw something. What is there to withdraw? Your account is zero.
Well, both people are doing the same thing. They think that their spouse is not doing the exact same thing. Because your spouse is sitting over here thinking, there are some things I want out of him or her.
Right.
They're not doing it. I know I could do. Because here's the thing. We know what our spouse likes. After a certain amount of time, I know if I do this, they're going to be happy. I know if I show up this way for them today, they're going to really love that. We actually do know some things.
Right.
That if I go ahead and make the bed, clean the room, they're going to enjoy that. If I take them out on a date, if I buy my wife, roses to the men or women, if you just give him a back rub, we know what they will like. When you decide I'm going to withhold that because they didn't do something for me, that is conditional love.
Right.
That's conditional. It means that if I am not fulfilled, I will give nothing out. And God asks us not to do that.
Right.
He said, esteem others higher than yourself. Give freely your love. Love unconditionally. He says even to love your enemies. So if you say you love your enemies, I'm pretty sure he wants you to love your spouse. Much grander than that. And especially since, like you said, we are one. If I'm going to love somebody unconditionally, it should be that person that I'm linked up with. And I'm going to give them my all. Like there should be at least one person on the planet that you can just say, I'm going to forgive you every day. I have grace and mercy for you every day. We are together every day.
Right.
Let's explore it. You can do whatever you want with me. Like
that
we was letting, like some of us was letting people we weren't married to do whatever they wanted.
Right.
But now you get with your spouse and don't.
But why is that? Why? It's like as soon as you put that ring on it, as soon as you say I do, that's where you want to have these conditions. But beforehand, it was like treat me however.
Because they feel like you're stuck. Because you're stuck. You married me, so you're stuck. To get out of this is a divorce. So now, and it's wrong.
Right.
I can kind of take you for granted and treat you any type of way. Because where are you going? See, you're not going to do that. Unfortunately, in some of these boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, if you start acting like that,
I'm out.
They're gone. Because there is no legal tie to you.
Right.
There's nothing they have to do to stay with you. There's no, children we got to break away, hopefully.
Right.
I don't have to go through that, So sometimes we treat the boyfriends and the girlfriends totally better.
Right.
Because they can leave. And the spouse, where you going?
Right. But it's just like another couple I know. They continue to look at each other as boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yes.
You ask them, it's like, that's my girlfriend, that's my boyfriend. And I think that's what some people need to do. You need to continue to look at your spouse as your girlfriend or your boyfriend so that you remember to keep them the way that you caught them. You want to keep them, then keep doing the things that you did to catch them. And yes, as we get older, things change, but that's why you have conversations and you find out whether or not does this still work for you?
Yes.
And if it doesn't, then tell me what does, because it is my heart's desire to please you.
Yes.
How many of us actually say that to our spouse? Just say to them, it's my heart's desire to please you, so how can I do that? How can I continue to have you yearn for me the way that I yearn for you?
Yes. And that's the part of what we were talking about last time, is making sure you stay desirable to your spouse.
Yes.
Y'all know what y'all look like in the mirror. You know what you look like.
Right.
You know if you are happy with what you look like.
Right.
But then you want your spouse to get excited, and you have let all things go. No medical issues, ain't nothing wrong with you. It's just like, oh well, this is just what my body turning into. It doesn't have to, because you could work out. We could all work out. We could all eat better. We could all drink more water.
Right.
We could all get more energy, get ourselves together mentally, emotionally. But we're like, no, they're with me. And what we forget, Hannah, the most is our spouse does have a choice.
Yeah.
They actually
just like we do.
The fact that the divorce rate is still 50%, people are exercising their choice.
Right.
They're exercising their choice. They don't have to live in this depressing, horrible situation with you for the rest of their life. Like you got them in a prison and you're stuck legally. Now, as Christians, we know that God does not believe in divorce.
Right.
But don't push your spouse to the point where now they feel like they're in a prison because they're trying to honor God by staying committed and married to you. But then they're looking like, God, do you see this mess?
Right.
Do you see that they don't really care
Right.
about me being attracted to them? They don't care that I'm tired. They don't care that they're not meeting my needs. They don't care to give me any of their affection. They don't even listen to me. God, they're stubborn. God, they're doing their own thing, God. Like I'm trying to be married to them and you telling me to stay married, God, but I feel like I'm in a prison with a warden who will not listen to me. And your spouse should not see you as a warden.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't at all. And that's where you have to realize. First of all, let me put the disclaimer out there. When we're talking about, taking care of yourself, it's not about a number on a scale.
No.
It's not about looking a certain physique or comparing yourself to the Instagram models of what the world says is beautiful.
No.
But it's about just the care and upkeep
your best
of
self.
you being your best self.
Your best.
Like if you are happy,
self.
exactly. If you are really happy with yourself, then I'm pretty sure that you're gonna shake a few things in front of your spouse that's gonna make them really happy too. You know what I'm saying?
The confidence you feel when you know that you are your best self.
Right.
When you go and you put on nice things for your spouse to see.
Right.
It don't matter. It doesn't matter what your weight class is.
Right.
It is, do I feel sexy so that I can show up for my spouse uninhibited, and because that makes your spouse attracted to you when they feel that affection, that attractiveness and that confidence come off of you.
Right.
Like, can you light the candles, turn on the music, and do all this wonderful stuff? And Christians, it's okay. It's okay to dance around the room for your spouse and with your spouse.
Right.
That type of romance is okay. That there is nothing that you need to withhold. If you want to do all this exploration with your spouse, do it.
Buy a game. Explore. If you don't even know how to, buy a game that helps you to explore each other's bodies and have fun.
And be relaxed with it.
Yes. And be okay.
And if it's not something you feel that you're good at, go see a therapist.
Right. It's okay.
Go get some advice. Talk to some of your friends. I remember a group of women, we got together one time and we were giving each other advice on how to lead into it. We were like, maybe you dance up to the bed like this. And it was funny, but I remember one of the women, she called some of us later and said, thank you. And she had been married over 20 years.
Wow.
She said, but I have been she said, when I used to date out there, I used to do all that.
Right.
But when I got saved, I thought there was a different playbook and I really shouldn't do all that. I'm saying, and in essence, she was saying, I didn't think I need to seduce my husband anymore because I already got him. Now I was out here seducing all these other men with all of my womanly, feminine wiles. But when I got married, no, he liked me already. He good.
Right.
He's fine.
And that's something that we don't talk about in the church. And we talked about that in the last episode as well, that, it's very taboo in the church, and even for some of us like myself who didn't necessarily wait until marriage, it was still a very taboo topic.
Yes.
That, now that I'm married, I have found myself struggle, you know, sometimes with the whole just being sexy in front of my husband, who I'm married to, and I'm supposed to be able to just be sexy with him. Like, is it okay?
Oh, I'm showing cleavage, right, but I'm with my husband.
No. Like, he picks at me because I still to this day will wear shorts under my dresses, and he's just like, Hannah, why? You a grown woman. Why do you do that?
Hannah, don't wear them shorts no more. Don't wear the shorts. Don't wear the shorts anymore.
But it's just certain things that for me, you know, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me in my childhood, that I was just taught that it's really hard to break away from those things now. And that's one of the things, like with my daughter now, I try to have those open conversations with her because I don't want her to be like her mama at 38 and still struggling with little things like this, like, oh, I gotta put a camisole on because my shirt is cut too low and it's showing my cleavage. Like, girl, you grown. Why?
Yeah, you see, you don't want to hang out with me. I had you all out there. I'm like, no, I'm like, I need you. I don't care if it's 50 women in this room. I know my husband is looking at me because I'm gonna make sure. There are dresses that I wear on dates with him that I don't wear anywhere else.
Right.
And he doesn't mind because he's like, I love it. I love it. And I love that he loves it.
Right.
I love for my husband to look at me and just go, wow.
Right.
You know, and I don't like, oh, you mean me? Stop. You're making me blush. I'm like, no, I put this on for you to go, wow. You better say wow. You better be very fully attracted to it, notice it, because I want you to.
Yeah.
Because that's the confidence that we have to have with our spouse, that they chose us.
Yeah.
Then see, this is something I tell women all the time. They chose to make you their wife.
Right.
In a way that they didn't have to. He loves you.
He wanted to put his covering on you.
His covering, his name, bring you into his home because he didn't have to. Like I said, people forget that people have choices. Women have choices to get married. Men have choices to get married. You all chose to do this. So do it well.
Right.
Do it well.
Right.
Release all that affection, you all. I'm going to give you permission, my Christian folks.
Yes.
Turn on some music. What you listen to, Teddy P? I don't care what it is. Romance your spouse. But like we said last time, it's not even just about the actual intercourse.
Right.
Some of the sweetest times my husband and I have is when we're sitting on the sofa just watching a movie together. And we'll be holding hands.
Right.
And that may be it for that evening. But that's okay. That is so sweet to me. And he'll reach over. You know, he might kiss me on my forehead. You know how they, and I'm like, oh, that just melts me. Because we both tired. Nothing's going to happen.
Right.
But we're letting each other know I'm still so fully connected.
It's the connection. Yeah.
We're fully connected, and that is the bond that God wanted us to have with our spouse, because wherever that bond is, that's where your focus is. That's where your attention is.
Right.
That's what your priority becomes.
And that's how couples who may have the medical issues or the health issues in the relationship can still keep that.
Yes.
Because it's not just about the sexual intercourse. It's about that connection and that bond that you have. There are other ways that the two of them can come together and still show each other affection, even if at this point now one of them are no longer able to
Which
perform.
eventually happens to all couples. Eventually, it is definitely not the intercourse.
Right. That's that, through sickness and in health part. That part right there, that's why when you say those vows, it's that other part. Because everything is not always going to be good.
No.
You're not always going to have good health. Somebody in the relationship may go through a health challenge that's going to stop some things that used to happen early on. So what now? You going to leave? No. Because you did sign up for this. When you said I do, you signed up for everything that came along with it.
Yes.
And so you have to find other ways. And so having this conversation, feeding the intimacy, continuing to maintain your garden. Go out there like a gardener and toiling the ground and planting some new seeds, pulling up the weeds, you know what I'm saying? Doing all the things that you need to do to help garden your relationship, you need to do that.
Yes, and part of that is, of course, dating.
Yes.
Going on trips. I know y'all want to save money, but you don't need to save all the money that you can ever go out for a night or two with your spouse.
Right.
That you got to take the kids on every vacation.
Right.
They with you everywhere you go. You have to be able to tell those children good night and no, you all are not going on this trip. This is for mommy and daddy because we are working on our bond and our friendship. I have to tell my children that, but it's to the point now they understand.
Right.
They're like, are we going? No. This is a mommy and daddy trip. And I'm going to tell you, Tara vacation and Jay vacation, these are two different type of people. When I say we are different people, when we get together with just the two of us, we realize, whoa, we like our guard is down. We're not watching children. We're not talking about work. We just get together and we realize, oh, we still really like each other. We like each other. And that's the bond that's going to take you into the 30, 40 years after the intercourse has stopped.
You want to know how those couples have been able to stay together for 45, 50 years is because they made time for each other.
Absolutely.
When I talked before my godmother passed away, my godfather had said to me, and his words will always stick with me, and he said, every day I learned something new about her. And this was after they were already married for like 35 years. Yeah. And he was just like, every day I still learn something new about her. And he's like, it's because I take the time to learn her.
Yes.
And that's what we need to do. We have to study our spouses on a daily basis so that you can be aware of those changes that happen. You can be aware of what they need so that you can always be their place of peace and they can always be yours. And that's how you have to continue to nurture that. And everything that we've been talking about up until this point have just been little nuggets to get to this part, you know,
the
to talk
nurturing,
about that.
the sweet spot. That's why we have to fix all the other stuff.
Gotta go back to
holding
that
people
first.
accountable and all of that. It is simply because I want to get to the point where we can love unconditionally. We can, you know, compliment each other without holding it back. We can say we love each other all the time. That's the way you want to thrive with your spouse. No one is perfect. Your spouse is going to do things to irritate you.
Right.
Because they're a human being.
And you're going to do stuff to irritate them too.
Absolutely. Yes. Without a doubt. If you expect to be married 30, 40 years and they never do anything that makes you want to say, bye.
Right.
If they never do anything, that is unrealistic. And that's crazy. That means somebody hiding something because we are not perfect.
Or if that's you, send us a letter and let us know. School us on something.
Tell us that you live this perfect, flawless life where your spouse is completely happy with you every day, all the time for 30, 40 years. No, everybody gets to that part where they can disappoint their spouse or upset them. Have grace.
Yes.
And the grace will bring you nurturing. Nurturing brings you intimacy. And all of that brings a stronger bond.
Yes.
So we have enjoyed this segment right here. And next time we're gonna kind of bring it in to dig into this real good sweet spot where we're now moving forward in our marriages. It's a whole new year, 2021.
Yes.
The first year of this decade. And I don't know about y'all, I'm looking for greatness in 2021 in my marriage and in all of my relationships.
And we're praying the same for yours too. Yes. Definitely.
And you can, new year, new start, no matter what happened, no matter, my spouse for the last 6 years ain't did nothing for me. Okay, here's key number one. Ask God how you can change the situation in your marriage.
Starts with you.
Don't wait on your spouse. Say, God, I'm going to love them according to how I'm supposed to, according to the way you want me to. God says we have the power to change our relationship. Yes. We have the power to move our marriages. I know a lot of people that have, because they took ownership and said, Lord God, I'll be the one.
Right.
I'll be the one that stops being stubborn first. I will give my all into this thing and see where it lands. Somebody has to do that, and that's when we're empowered.
Right. And so that's what we need to do. We all need to take this new year, this new start, as an opportunity to just ask God to show us and lead us how we can be the change in our marriage. So,
absolutely. Yes. So until next time, take care.
Bye. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you got something out of the episode.
If you want to connect with us, you can email us at loveessentialsshow@gmail.com.
Or check us out on Facebook at Love Essentials.
Or Instagram at The Love Essentials.
You can also check me out on Hannah's World Podcast on Spotify or iTunes.
And check me out at TaraBody.com, where you can pick up my latest book, Marriage is a Beautiful Thing, But I Wish I Would Have Known. We appreciate you watching our show today. Take care.
Bye.